I've heard so many stories about Andre the Giant, the boss. If he didn't want you in a dressing room, he would run your ass out. How was Andre back in the day? Was he the king of the dressing room? Because Tim White, referee Tim White, who's refereed so many of yours in my matches, you know, if he didn't want you in there, he would grab your shit and throw it out the door, and you really didn't have much to say about it. How was Andre?
You know, he was another one of those guys. You know, they can talk about Andre, but I loved him. I understood him, and I sort of appreciate him. And, you know, he was the kind of guy that, you know, if you respected him and he worked hard, and you were, like you said, you earned it. He was always a good guy, and Andre was a great worker too. You know, people
absolutely.
Don't say that a lot about Andre, but he was a super coordinated guy. You know, and I can remember it's in the new WWE DVD that they just did on me a few months ago or a month ago. There's me and Andre wrestling in Italy, which makes me laugh even thinking about it, because I can remember going, "Who the hell put me with Andre?" And I remember like freaking out in the dressing room, going, "I'm going to do a single match with Andre." And Andre never even kept kind of acting like he didn't give a shit. And I remember like no one would give me a finish or anything. Like I said, "What the hell are we going to do?" And anyway, he finally started laughing and talking about, "Don't worry about it." And you know, I found out later that it was Andre that asked that he could work with me. He said he wanted to say he wrestled Bret Hart one time. And so we booked this single match in Milan. But I will say this much, when he started to drop that elbow on me from that height.
Yeah.
And looking up at that body, it's like a piano, like a grand piano getting ready to fall on top of you. And, you know, a 7'4" grand piano.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, holy shit, he could kill me right now. If he's off by an inch or two, or just slips, or just, you know, sneezes or something, I mean, I could die right now. And, you know, he dropped that elbow drop on me. It was like somebody covering me with a blanket. It was so, he was such a pro. He really was. And I loved working with him. I had a lot of tags and situations with him, but he was always a pro, and always, you know, if he told you he was going to be there on the finish, or, you know, like whatever it was, he was there.
Right.
You know, whatever he needed to do, he did it. You know, I don't remember Andre, you know, and I also remember, you know, it's funny that you remember these stories, but I remember my first day in WWF back then was with the Dynamite Kid. They flew us down for Brantford and Poughkeepsie TV tapings, one in Toronto and one in Poughkeepsie, or close to Toronto. But anyway, we went to Poughkeepsie, and we landed at the airport in LaGuardia, and then we got some other little airline to White Plains, or to Poughkeepsie. And when we were in LaGuardia, I remember the Freebirds, all three of them, they were all passed out around the gate.
Oh no.
And they were so. I remember we left without it in the plane. But they couldn't open the door of the plane for the pilot and everyone else to get on, because they were all conked out against the door. And I remember they missed the plane. They never showed up. And I think actually it was a couple of days later that the same kind of thing happened, and they showed up in Providence, Rhode Island, and they showed up about an hour late into the show, and they came in giving some excuse about being late. They were, I think, clearly had been drinking and whatever else they'd been doing. And as soon as they walked in, Andre just said, "You're fired," to all three of them. All three of you guys are fired.
Andre said that?
He goes, "You're fired." And I remember Michael Hayes cutting a promo on him and going, "You can't fire me. You're not in charge," and all this stuff. And Andre, I just remember Andre goes, "You'll see tomorrow. It's either you're gone or I'm gone."
Oh,
and
shit.
The next day, they were all fired.
Oh, shit.
And, you know, he was one of the boys. He was tired of them coming late, and they were bullshit, and they were getting away with it, and he just said enough, you know. And he was a professional. He didn't like guys that weren't, you know. Bam Bam was another guy that, you know, when he had some big gates, he got some matches with Hogan, I think, right off the bat. He just come in from he was a brand new guy and young guy, making huge money, working with Hogan on top. And he started bragging in the dressing room about what he made and how great he was and this and that. And he was talking out of his ass for about, for a couple of days. Andre made him sure he wrestled him in the garden. And Andre kicked him around like a soccer ball for about 30 minutes. I mean, it's brutal.
A soccer ball.
He manhandled Bam Bam, who was a fairly tough guy. But
absolutely.
Andre, when he got mad at you, you didn't want to be on the wrong side of Andre.
Well, I mean, there's nothing you can do with a human being like that big. And pre-back surgery, before, he really kind of started going downhill, I've heard stories of some of the stuff that he did in the ring, standing on a guy's hair and wrenching his arms up just because, it was kind of, torturing him a little bit, but just kind of, letting him know with no uncertain terms that he didn't really like that particular person. And there wasn't anything you could do about it. He was too big and powerful.
I couldn't imagine, like Andre. Well, it was a good thing that Andre was as good natured as he was.
Did you ever drink with him?
All the time. It got to be kind of a normal thing. I think everybody drank with Andre, but the truth about Andre was that when he was at the bar, if you kept bothering him or something like that, he would ignore you. Like wrestling fans kept coming up and asking for his autograph or tapping him on the shoulder. He would never turn around. He would never look at him. He just completely and totally ignored them. And finally, they would lose it to the point they would cut promos on him, and he would still just ignore them. He just shut everybody out. And I realized that the poor guy never gets it. People bother this guy everywhere he goes.
Right.
And I don't think they understood how hard it was to be Andre. And I always allowed him that. I wrote a funny story in my book about my brother Smith driving us to the airport in my car, funny enough. But I remember it was like we were headed to rush Andre to the airport. We had to get him there for a plane that was leaving like right away. And the plane was long missed when we were driving to the airport. But my brother Smith drove about, he drove about 120 miles an hour to the airport. And,
where was Andre?
At 5 o'clock traffic. And Andre was in the passenger seat.
What kind of car was it?
It was a big Cadillac.
Yeah.
Big 76 Brome d'Elegance. It was a big heavy-duty Cadillac. I'm sorry, Andre was in the back seat. I was in the front seat. And my brother's driving my dad's Cadillac that he gave to me. And he drove it like an absolute idiot to the airport, like just through stop signs, red lights, side of the road, everything, in driving about 100 miles an hour. And he got to the airport and he ran in with Andre. And then I remember when we went to the airport, there was a big ramp. If you ever see the Calgary airport, there's a big sort of curved ramp as you're going up the airport to the next level. And we almost went over, I swear. My brother took that corner so fast with Andre. We were on two wheels, and I remember the car actually started hydroplaning to go up in the air, and then we crashed, kind of came down, and we screeched to a halt in front of the American departure or whatever, and Andre got out of my car. He was so mad, he slammed the door. Just about, I never saw him so mad. He got out of the car, he was just steaming. And he went in to try to make this supposed flight that he knew was missed, and my brother came out about 10 minutes later. The police came out. I remember they were going to arrest me. And I remember I said, explain the whole thing. It was my brother Smith driving, and he was trying to drive Andre to get him on a flight. And I kind of talked the cop out of giving him a ticket. But Andre was so, and rightfully so, because I was right in the car, and I know how scary that ride was. And we really did almost go over that ramp. He wouldn't talk to my dad, and he wouldn't talk to my brother, any of my brothers, including Owen, forever again. He wouldn't talk to any of them. He started talking to me only after I sort of made friends with him.
So he didn't say thank you for the ride.
Yeah. But, in all fairness to Andre, I always understood it. I mean, shit, that was a scary ride. And he's got had every right to be mad.